Hi, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today I am doing my TBR for the POCathon. For those of you who don't know, POCathon is a readathon hosted by myself with Diana and Colors, Men from Men Kobayashi, um, Kevin from Storyglyph, and Paola Mancera. And basically, from August 12th to August 19th, we are encouraging people to read books by people of color and also books with people of color as main characters. So, there are 5 challenges that you can do for the readathon if you feel so inclined to. You don't have to do them, they're not necessary for you to do, but they are good ways for you to find books out there with that we think would be good for you to read for this particular readathon. So the challenges are, and I'll put these down in the description box below as well. They are: read books with main characters from 3 different races and ethnicities, etc. They can be from the same book, but they don't all have to be in the same book. Read a classic book by a author of color or a translated book. Read a sci-fi fantasy book or by or featuring people of color. Read poetry by an author of color, and read a book that deals with racism, prejudice, or immigration. So I have 5 books that do indeed meet all those challenges. So we're gonna just go down the list and see what I have here. So the first one is read a book uh, with main characters from 3 different races and ethnicities. Now these all don't have to be present within. All 3 ethnicities don't have to be present in the same book, but should be from 3 different ethnicities. So the book for that I'm going to read is going to be Great Stories by African Americans writers, and this is basically by Dover Thrift Editions. This actually is an anthology and includes authors like W.D. Du Bois, Jordan Hurston, Langston Hughes. So basically, this is a collection of their short stories in one place. I picked this up a while ago and have been looking for a time to get into it. So I'm very glad that I found this one day, and this gives me a chance to read it. The second challenge is read a classic book by author of color or a translated book. So I found a translated book, and that is going to be Go by Kazuki Keneshiro and translated by Tagami Nida. I think that's how you say it. So basically, this book is about a young teenage boy who lives in Japan. He is going to school and he falls in love with a girl who is Japanese. However, he himself is Korean, but he doesn't let her know because there is some prejudice against Koreans. At some point, things happen in which he does reveal this to her, and then basically they have to figure out whether she can overcome her prejudice and bias, and whether he can figure out who he is and who he wants to be. So this is like a coming of age story set in Japan. It sounded really good. I believe Sean Mooney also read this book at one point, and I heard it on his channel, and I had this for a while. I think it came out in like February or something like that on Amazon, and I picked it up, and this also was waiting for a chance to read this, and this is giving me the perfect chance to do so. So for challenge number 3, which is read a sci-fi fantasy book written by or featuring people of color, I'm going to be reading Binti, the Night Masquerade, which is actually the last book in the Binti trilogy. So it is written by Nnedi Okorafor, and it's quite a good read. The whole trilogy as a whole, I read. They're actually novellas, so they're pretty short, about 90 to 100 pages each, and they're amazing so far. Basically, the story so far has been that Binti, who's a African girl of Himba descent, she goes off into space to study at a university. In the first book, actually, I don't want to give anything away for you, just if you haven't read it. But in the first book, she encounters something unexpected, and there's some major changes in her life, which in part 2 prompts her to come home after some time at the university. She also experiences some things there, coming back home different than how she left, and then heads off to find out more about herself. In part 3, she is coming back home, but she finds her home engaged in conflict. So I'm going to be reading that. the last book in the trilogy, and I encourage you all, if you haven't read the Binti trilogy, any of it, or you haven't finished it, to go ahead and give it a try. It is really good. So the fourth challenge is read a book of poetry by a person of color, and for this I have a song for us by Raina Biddy, and basically this book is a collection of short stories. Actually, it's a mix. It's prose, poetry, and short stories from what I've heard, because I myself don't really know what the book is about. So I'm going into this pretty blind. I have my first time being exposed to Raina Biddy's work, so I have no idea. She has written something else before, so this is actually her newer work, which I believe came out this year. So I will be reading this, and since there's poetry in it, it fulfills that part of the challenge. So we'll see how it goes. And last but not least, let's read a book that deals with racism, prejudice, or immigration. And for that, I have Freshwater by Akwake and Mezi. And basically, this story actually is another book that I don't know a lot about. I picked it up yesterday as an audiobook because it was an Audible daily deal. And basically it deals with this girl born in Nigeria. And she has... From what the description was, she has a mental illness. I think it's multiple personality disorder, but I'm not sure. And basically she has to deal with that in her own country, but she also immigrates to America, and how that stress of that immigration culture shock, she has to also deal with that along with this mental illness that she has. So, first of all, I hope that is correct, because that is what I got from reading the synopsis of the book. So I will definitely let you guys know at the end of the readathon if I was correct or if I was just way off. But since she is dealing with the shock of immigration along with her own personal problems as well, I thought this would fit well into the last challenge. That is it for my TBR for the POCathon. I have a bunch of good books here, some books that I wanted to read for some time, some books that I've just heard for the first time and are picking up without any knowledge of previous works by the author or about the books themselves. So this should be an interesting week. I have seen some of your TBR videos out there. I've just been really busy and haven't gotten around to commenting on all of them. So I will be doing that over the weekend, and I hope that a lot of you will join me from August 12th to August 19th in reading books and main characters by people of color. So if you aren't doing a TBR video, or if you have done a TBR video, you can tag me on Twitter at GhostReads28, and you can also tag the other co-hosts. I will be putting their links to their channels and Twitters down in the comment section below. Down in the description box below. And if you aren't doing a TBR, let me know, like a TBR video, let me know down in the comment section below what you're going to be reading for the POCathon. So that's it for me. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me at GhostReads28 on Twitter, on Twitter at GhostReads28, and you can also follow me on Goodreads. The link to that is down in the description box below. So guys, as always, keep reading.